was the kind of man who didn't stop for anyone. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, always chasing the next deal. He wasn't cold, just busy. Life had taught him to keep moving, keep winning, and above all, keep his heart out of things that didn't concern numbers. His schedule was tight, his time even tighter. But fate doesn't always knock politely. Sometimes, it barges in wearing a pink dress and holding a crumpled party invitation. He had just stepped out of the cafe, phone glued to his ear, rattling off figures and forecasts to a boardroom full of executives on the other side of the call. That's when a soft tug on his sleeve made him glance down. A little girl, maybe 6 or 7, stood looking up at him with hopeful eyes. Her hair was pulled into 2 uneven ponytails, and she clutched a paper that looked like it had been folded and unfolded too many times. "Mister," she said softly, "can you come to my birthday party?" He blinked. "I think you have the wrong person." She shook her head. "No, you looked sad. Mommy says sad people need cake more than anyone." He laughed a little, half confused, half charmed. "Is your mom here?" She pointed to the window of the nearby clinic. He followed her finger and saw a woman sitting alone, wrapped in a hospital blanket, pale and tired but smiling faintly through the glass. She waved, a slow, gentle movement that carried more weight than words ever could. "She's sick," the little girl said matter-of-factly. "But she said she'll still smile if people come to my party." He glanced back at his phone. The meeting had already ended. No one had noticed he was gone. Suddenly, for the first time in years, he realized just how forgettable he really was in the world he thought revolved around him. "What's your name?" he asked. "Emily." "Well, Emily, when's your party?" "Today, at the park near the church. After Mommy finishes her treatment." There was no hesitation in her voice. Just belief. Belief that people would come, that her mommy would be okay, and that strangers could be kind. He looked at his watch. The numbers didn't matter today. That afternoon, for the first time in decades, he bought a balloon. A whole bunch of them, actually, bright, colorful ones that bobbed in the air and made little kids squeal in delight. He even picked up a cake shaped like a unicorn. It felt absurd. It felt beautiful. When he arrived at the park, there were only a few people. Emily waved him over like he was her oldest friend. He stood awkwardly for a moment, unsure of what to do, but then she grabbed his hand and pulled him into a game of tag like it was the most natural thing in the world. Her laughter filled the air, light and pure. Her mother sat on a bench nearby, wrapped in a coat despite the warm weather, her eyes tired but filled with something fierce, pride, perhaps, or gratitude. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues over the park, Emily opened her presents. Most were small, crayons, books, a teddy bear. Then she got to his gift. He had no idea what little girls liked, so he'd bought a music box that played a gentle lullaby when opened. She opened it carefully, the tune filling the air. "It's like Mommy's voice," she whispered. Then she looked up at him. "You're my friend now, right?" He nodded, feeling a lump in his throat. "I think you needed this party more than I did," she said. Then she hugged him, tightly, with her whole being. It was the first time in years someone had touched him without expectation. No contract, no benefit. Just warmth. Days turned into weeks. The man, once too busy to breathe, began showing up more often. Sometimes with groceries, sometimes just to sit and talk. Emily would run to him the moment he arrived, and her mother's eyes would soften every time. He learned her mother's name was Sarah. She had been a teacher before her illness. She loved poetry and hated hospital food. She smiled through pain and never let Emily feel fear. She was everything he never knew he needed to witness. One rainy afternoon, he found himself sitting by Sarah's bedside at home. Emily had fallen asleep on the couch, a crayon still clutched in her tiny hand. "I know I don't have much time," Sarah said quietly. He opened his mouth to protest, but she held up a hand. "It's okay. I've made peace with it. I just want to know Emily will be okay." "She will," he promised without even thinking. "She has me." She smiled then. "I know." A few weeks later, Sarah passed away peacefully in her sleep. The funeral was small, simple, quiet. Emily held his hand the entire time. Afterward, as they sat beneath the same tree where her birthday party had been, she leaned against him and said, "Mommy said you were my angel. Even if you didn't know it." He didn't know what to say. He just wrapped his arm around her and let her cry. He never went back to the corporate world. Instead, he started a foundation in Sarah's name to support single mothers battling illness. He built a little library in the community park. He read Emily bedtime stories, helped her with homework, and packed her lunch every morning. People asked him sometimes why he gave up everything. He never called it giving up. He called it finally waking up. Sometimes life sends angels not with wings, but with broken hearts that still know how to heal others. Sometimes, the most profound moments come not from wealth or success, but from a simple party invitation handed to you by a child with hope in her eyes. And sometimes, it takes a little girl in a pink dress to teach a grown man how to feel again. Because love doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes, it whispers, "Mommy's sick, but she'll still smile if you come to my party." And sometimes, that whisper is all it takes to change a life forever.